I wanted people to be able to say like, I'm going to FRMEFEST next year, and people automatically know what FRMEFEST is. That was the grand idea. When you really, really deeply believe in something, that's when people start believing in it too. And I would be so proud of the fact that even though I was scared, I still did it. And I did it not for any monetary value or gain. I did it because of my love for not only my family, but what I think the industry deserves. And if I failed doing it, the person that I became every step of the way to have gotten to a point where I failed is so much more than the person that I would have been that avoided doing it because I was scared. And that was the one and only thing that made me be like, I gotta do it. This industry is the entire backbone for the entertainment industry. Streaming, the movies, cinema, magazine, everything revolves around knowing how to use a camera. But yeah, I think FRMEFEST has a very, very bright future. And it's only, just the beginning.
What does it take to build one of the biggest creator events in Australia? Well, my guest today, Selina Tran, is the visionary behind FRMEFEST, a massive creative festival that brought together the world's biggest creatives and camera brands. And in this conversation, she shares the story behind the dream, the challenges of making it happen, and how her family and upbringing shaped the drive that pushed her forward. Selina's journey shows what's possible when you combine big ideas, a relentless drive, and the right support. So, let's get into it. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot about FRMEFEST in this chat, but firstly, thanks for coming on. And I was going through all your work, and it became very obvious that like your family and your backstory have influenced you heavily with where you are right now. So it feels like it's important to start there. Sometimes I think when I'm doing this, I'm like, and from watching other podcasts, like you want to get straight to the value and teach people everything you want to know, and they're the juicy parts. But the more and more I look through your page and your work, I'm just like, your family and your backstory have influenced a lot of this.
100%. I think the juicy part is here, to be honest. The lessons and the motivation, the drive, the passion, the clarity, it all comes from all of this, more so than anything, I think, for me at least.
Yeah, cool. Can we start there? So can you tell us a little bit about your backstory?
Of course. I never know where to start with this question. So my dad is an accountant by trade, and my mom, she was just supporting my dad as I grew up. But she actually is a very interesting story with my parents. Should I start with my parents?
Yeah, hell yeah.
So my mom and dad, they came from Cambodia. So I'm Chinese Cambodian, and they lived there in their younger years. And then war broke out. Have you heard of the Cambodian genocide?
Only through you and your post.
So Pol Pot came and pretty much took over Cambodia and did the thing that, both my parents have their own side of the story. So I'll start with my mom. She lived quite poorly in poverty with her family. She's one of 6 children, and my grandma is a widow. So my grandma's husband, so my grandfather, passed away in a car accident when she was pregnant with my youngest auntie at the time. So my mom was 4 years old at the time. So once that happened, my grandma pretty much raised 6 children in poverty. And she refused to remarry or refused to get into another relationship because I think at the time Cambodian men were quite opportunists. Like they would try to it just wasn't a very healthy dynamic. So my grandma was really protective over her existing family, but that meant that she had to raise 6 children alone with not much money. And to do that in poverty is so hard. I think
to do that anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, even raising 2 children in today's day and age is hard. So she's the strongest woman that I know. And so they just did a little bit to make ends meet, and then war broke out. Pol Pot came and infiltrated, my mom's family home and took all of the children into the camp. And then I think it was for 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I can only tell the story from my mum's perspective, but all my uncles and aunties have their own stories. But my mum was used as a slave for 6 years.
Whoa.
So they used her for farming and crops and things like that. And she was made to believe that the family was killed off. So mom, brother, sister, like it's not around. They're not
so
around.
she didn't see your grandmother during that time?
No.
Wow.
And then I think she heard somewhere that she was still around. So within the 6 years they were kept in this camp, and they were segregated by age. And she found out that her mum was still around. So I think in the evenings, and my mum tells the story way better than me, so I don't want to get any like facts wrong, but I'm just going to tell it how I remember.
Yeah.
So she would leave her campsite and run in the evening and just look for where my grandma was staying. Long story short, she found her, and almost, I think it's like every few nights she would sneak out to sleep with her, and then the mornings before the guards, wake up, she runs back to her camp. And it's crazy because there was a lot of killing involved in this era. If they catch anyone sneaking out of their campsite, they get killed. If they catch anyone sneaking out to like look for crops and stuff to eat, they get killed. So my mum said gunshots was a very normal sound, in the background. And they fed so little as well. It was like a bit of rice, bit of salt, bit of water. That was their diet. Yeah. And so there were a lot of kids that also died from starvation. So if you didn't go out in the middle of the night to try and steal some crops to eat, you'd probably die of starvation. But at the same time, you're risking your life doing that because the guards are, up at night looking for people doing that. So my mom was one of the ones that survived all of that. And then long story short, they came to Australia. There's obviously a long-winded story in between that. But Australia was so generous enough to take my mom and her entire family to Australia to start,
with
a
your
new
grandmother?
life. Yeah, with my grandmother. My dad, my mum's father figure, because she lost her dad at such a young age, was her grandpa, so my great-grandfather, who was a very respected figure in our family. Even though we've never met him, like his stories still, get told to us. He was a very giving man. Apparently he was like the man of the village. A really, really beautiful story my mum shares is that he... they wouldn't have enough money, so they would save for a long time to even just get a new pair of shoes. His shoes are like ripped and torn and there's holes in it. And then one day he got a new pair of shoes, and then I think it was like he was walking around with his new pair of shoes for a week. And then he would see a man barefooted, across the road riding a bicycle or something like that. And then he would ask the man to wait. He would run inside. He would switch his own shoes to old shoes, like his old shoes that were broken, and give him the new ones that he saved up for years for.
Wow.
To this random person on the street. So that is like a little bit of how I think the values that my mom's family grew up with. And then from my dad's side, my dad's dad has always really been a businessman. So I think from a young age, he actually felt like, so he was in China, my dad's dad, my grandfather. I'm jumping all over the place.
No, you're good.
But my dad's dad, at a very young age, was born in China, and they lived in a small, poor province. And I don't know what compelled him to think outside of what he couldn't see. But he was like, this isn't the life that I want to live. And I think he was like 8 years old at this time. And he can try to convince his parents, so my great-grandparents, I think there's a better life outside of this province. I think we should just take a leap, take a risk, and go somewhere. And the parents is like, you're 8 years old. What are you talking about? Like, you don't have enough life experience to know, and you're going to leave everything behind. And my dad just said, my great-grandfather was like, my grandfather. Yeah, was like, I would rather, almost like in the mentality of like, I don't want to die not knowing what else is out there. And I think that's so profound as an 8-year-old, whether or not that timeline is fully accurate. He was young.
And I can imagine back then there's like no internet. So how do you even know
exactly
what's out there?
I'm a huge, and I'll get into this a bit later, but I'm a huge advocate for the saying of you can't aspire to be what you can't see. Like, it doesn't exist in your mind. So how can you fathom a greater life outside of all you know at 8 years old? That still baffles me when I think about it. So yeah, he was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna like try. So he left his family, and he had packed a couple of underwear and food or snacks or whatever, and then he went on a random boat, and that boat took him to Cambodia.
And he ended up there.
And then when he got to Cambodia, he had to do what he needed to do, like survival instincts to survive. And then he met my grandmother. And then, they started a family, and that's kind of when my dad came into the picture.
Yeah.
And so actually in Cambodia, I think my dad's family was doing quite well. My grandfather was a metal welder, and they had their own business. And at the time, they had just bought their house. My dad's one of 8 children.
Wow. So you have a huge family.
Yeah. I have lots of cousins.
Yeah.
And we're all like similar age as well. So we're like a big cult.
That's cool.
But it was really fun growing up. Anyway, and so they had just bought their house, and they're living quite comfortably in Cambodia. So I think in comparison to my mum's family growing up, my dad's family had a little bit more happening. Then Pol Pot came, so in the same time. But prior to Pol Pot, my dad's dad, I say that because I've never met him, but my grandfather, I think that was on the news, and some propaganda popped up, and he was like, I think war was about to break out. We need to run again. And then he tried to convince his wife, my grandmother, we need to go. And my grandma's like, what do you mean? Our business is here. Our children are here. Everyone's so young. Like, we have a house here. We have a life here. Like, we can't just leave everything on the basis of you guessing that something's going to break out. And she's like, I'm not leaving. And so my grandfather, because he wasn't fully sure that this was going to happen. He was like, okay, well, I guess we'll see. And then the next day, my grandmother went to the markets, and she said that it was eerily quiet. It was like a ghost town. And she had never felt that kind of vibe before. So she rushed home, and she was like, I think you're right, we need to go. So they packed everything up. There are 7 kids at the time. My youngest uncle wasn't born yet. So they packed everything up, and then they just walked miles, caught a little, I think they call it a dinghy, a little boat, crossed the river into Thailand borders, and volunteered themselves into the refugee camp there.
Wow.
And they lived there for 4 years, I think. And that's when my youngest uncle was born, in the camp, in the Thailand. And they lived there for 4 years, but they were illegal. They didn't have a visa or permanent residence in Thailand or anything. So they were constantly trying to avoid, being found out. And that also meant that they couldn't do business or trade. So what they did was they would buy like little packets of like soybeans, salt, and they would divide it into little Ziploc bags and sell it out.
Wow.
And that's how they made, ends meet with feeding themselves and lived for 4 years in refugee camp. Long story short, 4 years later, and then 6 years later for my mum's side, the Australian government was taking in a few families, and I think the criteria at the time was that they needed to know a little bit of English. And so and this is like a very similar story for both sides of my family now. They would like sneak out like outside of a English tutor classroom, and they would like try and learn a little bit of English. And then
so they'd have to pass like some sort of English test.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, and they did, and then Australia took them in.
Wow.
So yeah, at that point, my mum was in Adelaide, my dad was in Sydney, and they met each other. Long story short, they got married, and then my brother and I came to this earth.
Yeah.
As that's a very quick summary of everything, but what you could imagine came with that is a lot of trauma and a lot of both my parents experienced poverty to the extremities. So they really know what it's like to not have money to buy anything or to eat. My dad was like, our bathroom was literally a bucket. And my dad always tells a story for some reason. So my dad really likes basketball. And
so do I.
Yeah, do you? Yeah. So there was this keyring store, and there was a little basketball keyring, and my dad, like as a young kid, that's all you really want is, the things that, it's not really the necessities of life. You just want you want that little toy, or you want to experience something. He wanted that little keyring. And for him, for a long time, that little basketball keyring was like, he said to us, he never wanted us to feel what it felt like to not be able to, not only just dream, because he didn't have the luxury to dream and do what he wanted to do, but he also didn't want to want us to feel not just inadequate. He doesn't want us to wish upon everything to have a freaking little keyring. So Yeah, I think that was like the first time he ever felt any sort of like inadequacy. Like he was like, there has to be more. So when they came to Sydney, they got married. No, before, yeah, they got married. My mom's side of the family started a retail business in the photography world.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it was just photo printing. So at the time, there was no digital format. It was just a camera and prints. That was the only way you would be able to see a depiction of the real world on a piece of paper. Like, it was just through prints. And at the time, the business was doing really good. My dad would call it a money printing machine. Like, instead of printing photos, it was printing money.
Yeah, sure.
And so there were a lot of opportunities in that space at the time. And my mum's second eldest brother gave my mum and dad an opportunity to open up a store in Baulkham Hills.
Mm-hmm.
And it was called Stockland Mall at the time. I don't know if it's still called that.
I feel like I've heard of this still.
Yeah. And so my mum fell pregnant. My dad didn't want my mum to have to work so hard. So my dad made the really bold decision to quit accounting. And at the time, his dream was to open up his own accounting firm. And he was working out of his garage. The reason why my mum wanted to start this business was because she wanted to be able to make enough money to help fund my dad's dream of having his own accounting firm.
Wow.
Yeah. But my dad had to pivot. My mum fell pregnant and with my brother. And my dad came into the business. My mum stopped working. And my dad grew the business. He has I think he has business in his blood because he grew it very quickly.
Yeah.
And then he expanded, and then he, acquired more locations and had a couple of retail businesses printing.
Wow. So he just embraced the whole thing.
He embraced it, and he guns blazing in it. He never went back into accounting.
Wow.
But that accounting knowledge served so well for how they grew their wealth growing up. So aside from this, my mum has a book, and her book was just a book of dreams. So she drew like a house on a hill, a Birkin. Like, she had all these like dreams that she wanted. And for my dad, that book was his North Star. And so that was kind of how the industry started in our bloodline. And he quickly, and you would know, over the years, film started getting washed out of the industry.
Yeah, true.
And we had smartphones, and then I saw the evolutionary growth of all the hardware. So smartphones, and then there was like digital compact cameras, there were mirrorless cameras, and DSLR was really big, and then it went back to mirrorless cameras, and now digital cameras and all the camcorders are all in again.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it went full circle. But my dad was on the operating side of that entire evolution. So my brother and I, growing up, we had the opportunity to witness all of that. And that gave me, I didn't know at the time, but I think a very solid foundational understanding of how the industry works from an operational side of things. I'm not a creator. I've never been into, the creative space at the time. And so I was kind of, my perspective was more just witnessing how it works from the stock side of things, how the brands work. And that was so fascinating for us growing up. But, when we were growing up, we're in high school, it's not that cool. Cameras weren't that cool at the time. So my dad was like, come work for us. Come work for the retail store and be like the salesperson selling cameras. So that's what I did. But
how did you feel when he said that?
I hated it. I didn't want to do it. I was like, I want to do like other stuff. But yeah, my dad was like, it's a good industry to be in. It's good. Like, you can learn sales skills, because it's interesting because selling a camera is actually really hard. At the time, like it felt like selling a car. Like, we had to talk about the specs. We had to talk about like how like the lens works with it and what type of lenses are there for what. And because I wasn't into cameras at the time, I didn't know what I was talking about. But I was kind of forced to sell. My parents were like, you have to sell it. And you have KPIs. You have to meet this target. And I didn't know what I was talking about. And I'm like, hey, buy this camera. And they're like, why?
I feel like selling cameras too are very, you're more trying to educate the customer about a lot of these things. So you really have to know your stuff.
And at the time, I was still in high school. So I was like 12. 12, 13,
Yeah.
14. And then like some 35-year-old would walk in and he's already a photographer. He was like, hey, I'm looking for a 50 mil lens here. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. And then I remember, because it was just so intimidating. The entire industry was intimidating for me. And then it was to the point where like, even like counting change was hard for me. And they're like watching me give them the change. And I'm like, I think your change is $13.50. And they're like, oh no, it's actually $15. I was like, oh no, actually, yeah, it was $15. You're right. But it was a lot of that, you know, and I didn't really enjoy working in retail in the photographic space. So I was a little bit of a black sheep of the family. I never had plans to do anything in the photographic industry. So post uni, I graduated. And I thought I wanted to do psych.
Yep.
So I did placement for 6 months. And I came to the conclusion that this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. I loved it so much. I loved being like client facing. But I think I'm too much of an empath to do psych. I would come home at the end of every week and I would just stare at my ceiling with like tears coming out of my eyes, literally reliving the story that you know my clients are telling me. It was hard for me.
That would be hard.
Yeah. So I pivoted, and at the time I was looking for a gym to sign up to because I wanted to get my fitness game on. And this gym was very run down. And this serves as context as to how FRMEFEST all started. But the gyms were very run down. You could tell that the gym was not well looked after. And I had no idea what the fitness space was about. But I was fascinated about how it was a space where people went to heal.
True.
Like both mentally, physically. But it might not just be like a healing space. It's also like a community. And it had a lot to do with like mental health as well. And that was what I was into
very
at the time.
much so,
yeah.
yes.
So I went to this gym, and for whatever reason, I'm like, I think I can make this gym better because it was so neglected. And there was a big parking lot outside. There was another level at the top that was at the time like an optometrist or something. So I was like, there's so much potential to grow this gym, but I don't know how. So I worked there for a couple of months, and long story short, I think I was 22 or
How
21.
did you get that first job in there? What was your role?
I was a sales assistant. I was just like an admin.
So you just wanted to get a job there?
Yeah,
somehow.
I just wanted to learn the ropes. And I learned it and I loved it. It was hard, it was hard. It was like up and down days, but I just loved being around people so much. And at the time, I didn't know what my strengths and weaknesses were, and I was still figuring out what I liked and what I didn't like. But I think what was clear to me that I liked being around people. I liked shaping like culture. I liked building relationships with people and learning people's stories. I was just so interested in all of that.
The gym space provides a lot of that.
So much of that. Increasingly I became really passionate about the space, and my goal was to own it one day. And
where do you think you get a goal like that? Like where do you think that comes from? Not many people work a job and think, I want to own
this. Is going to be mine.
Yeah, this is mine. The sales girl.
I know, this random sales girl. Where did it come from? I think it was the idea of a challenge. Because I grew up, when I was like born into this world, my parents were already in business, and every day was about overcoming one type of challenge and another type of challenge. And over dinner, like the conversations would always be about growth and how we, become better. And it's never about the end outcome. It's about who we become achieving that outcome. And that's really the winning piece. It's not actually the end. It's what we become to get to that.
So you'd have these conversations at home?
Yeah,
That's
I did.
Awesome.
Growing up, I'm I can talk about my family for hours. I feel so lucky to be born into the type of family that I was born into. I think that like the family we are born into is pure luck. We don't get to choose.
True.
And this kind of ties into my humanitarian, I guess, purpose, which I'll touch on. But it all stems from family for me. So these conversations, I didn't know it at the time. It was during dinner. I was like, can we just talk about like what I did at school? Can we talk about friends? I was so young, like I'm so bored with these conversations.
Yeah.
But it really shaped my subconscious way of
Yes.
making decisions, I think. Because when I stepped into that fitness space, I was like, oh, this is a challenge. I want this place to be better for everybody. Let me try and like nudge my way in. And the opportunity came up. The gym, went up for sale. And I had, this deal where vendor financing. I did a lot of research on it. There was like certain KPIs that I needed to meet to be able to fund slowly taking over this gym. So I made that like my entire soul and my entire focus. And I just studied the gym space so much. I read on sales. I read up on customer retention. And long story short, 12 months later, I hit my numbers and it was mine. I won't get into it because this podcast is not about my fitness journey, but it was the beginning of my career, my business journey. And I felt like I thrived in that space. It was my bread and butter. I wanted to learn more. And what I quickly realized with the fitness space is that with the gyms, you're limited to how many square meters there are.
Yes, correct.
And it gets to a point where you sign up so many members, the gym becomes sardines, and there's a bit of a cap of how many members you can sign up before people start dropping off as well. And I didn't like that there was a ceiling to how much revenue I generated in a year. And at this point, it was now a business money game for me. And so we scaled, and I had 2 territories in New South Wales. And
so the solution to that is just to open up another space.
Yeah, keep acquiring new territories.
Yep.
But you could imagine that's quite expensive.
Yes.
A very expensive way to scale. And I was only this was between the ages of 21 to 26.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did that or within that time. And I just applied the same cookie cutter method that I did for my gym in one area to the other territory.
You think it would make sense, right? Like, you worked here, why would it not work
exactly
elsewhere?
Yeah. And it did. So I had a very cushiony life, I think, during that time. And I had a
what made you succeed in that first space? A lot of gyms fail.
Yeah, a lot
do.
fail. That's a great question, because I struggled to keep up with I think there was 32 gyms in my suburb.
Where was this?
Castle Hill.
Castle Hill.
Yeah.
Cool.
And they were as the gyms were popping up in the industry in the suburb, they were all state of the art equipment, techno gym, matrix. The equipment was brand new, bigger, and I couldn't compete with that because it costs a lot of money.
Very expensive.
Yeah, and so I'm like, what's my competitive edge? There's so many competitors in this space, and I was like, I don't know. I don't think I had enough experience to know, but what I do, what I can be convicted on is that people are compelled to being around good people, and proximity is power. My dad has always said that to me growing up, proximity is power, proximity is power. So I just applied that to my gyms, and I learned quickly that the culture within the gym is a direct reflection of me and my relationship with myself and my team. And so what I ended up doing was I hired not based on experience in the fitness space, but based on just purely personality and what their intention is by applying to work in the fitness space. And we filtered through a lot of people. A lot of people were there because it was just a filler job, or there because it just looked good. I work at the gym, but
people want the lifestyle.
Exact, that lifestyle. Yeah. But there were very few people that applied because they cared about the outcome for the people, and they cared about helping others build the lifestyle that they wanted. And so I was very selective with who I hired. And I'm, to this day, the one thing that I'm so confident about with my experience in the fitness space is that the team that I hired was for the people. And that amplified our ability to attract members in that were there for the right reasons. It wasn't really that ego type of powerlifting type gym, although I respect that space so much as well, and I think it has its own merits. But my gym was more just culture, encouraging others, and that was what worked for my experience in the fitness space, and same with my other location, which was in the Central Coast. So I did that for 6 years. And then after, like towards the end of the 5th year mark, I was like, I feel like a big fish in a small pond. Fitness became my passion, but it wasn't initially my passion. And at the time I was doing some humanitarian work as well. So I was visiting Cambodia. I was doing a little bit of work, giving a little bit of cash to the children. And that like flooded my heart. That became everything that, you know, fueled me for continuing to grow. And I felt like I reached this plateau in my business because I had a mentor at the time, and my mentor taught this thing called you're level 1 in your business, or you're level 2, or you're level 3. And what that means is if you apply a basketball team as a metaphor, the number 1 is you're a player in the team. So you're one part of the business. And number 2 is when you're the coach of the team. So in the business, you're the manager and you're overlooking everything. You're still doing the roster. The team can operate without you, but you still have to be involved for the business to run smoothly. That's number 2. And then number 3 is when you can step out completely and you've hired effectively. And you've got like a GM in place, they're doing the roster, they're handling you have a bookkeeper. So you're completely hands off in the business. So you like the business is running for you and you can go out and do your own thing. So I think it's very safe to say that I was in a position where I was able to just like come in for a workout and leave. And it wasn't challenging me anymore. And that's when I learn't that for me, I think I'm drawn to challenge. And I was only 25 at the time. So I'm like, I still have so much of my youth left. I don't have any kids yet. I'm not married. I can take big risks right now, and it's now or never. So I made the really hard decision at the time to sell the gyms. It was hard because I felt like it was almost my entire identity.
Yeah.
I sold the gym and I went traveling for a good year. And I went to so many, different countries, different places, and one thing stayed consistent. It was I had a fascination for learning about other people's story. And I had a camera with me and I was documenting everything. And I would come home and I would just spend hours rewatching it all and reliving it all. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a full 360 moment. Like the industry that my family is in is like, I think, so underrated. This is before the creator economy started boosting. Yeah. It's so underrated. Like we're capturing real life moments in that moment of time and taking it with us like into the future.
It's
like such a crazy thought, right?
Yes.
Because I was reviewing my experience on my phone or on a computer screen and I felt like I was reliving it. And I just thought that was so powerful.
Yes.
And during this time, I still hadn't figured out the idea of FRMEFEST yet. But I think this is like the becoming of it slowly. And I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And so I was like, what's something that I could do that ties in humanitarian to the brand? So I started a clothing label. And
so when you went on this, you'd sold your gyms and then went on this trip. Was there a purpose to this trip? Like, was it to try and figure out what the next move is?
Soul searching. I was just soul searching. And I actually spoke to someone at FRMEFEST about this because someone came up to me and they were like, what's your greatest advice for someone trying to figure out their path? And for me, I said travel as much as you can because we live in this the confinement of what we know. And like, if you're based in Sydney, your bubble is just Sydney. But if you're traveling and you're going out of your comfort zone, you're meeting new people, you're talking to new people, you're understanding new cultures, and it's to the tiniest detail of how they eat, how they speak, how do they run their business there, how do they treat others, how do they express themselves. It's all like new territory that we will never get the opportunity to experience and think about unless we go out of our bubble. And so I think traveling is a whole nother topic in itself. I think it provides such a strong level of foundation for people to find themselves. I know it sounds cliche, but yeah, I didn't know how to find myself, but I found it through traveling and meeting others and finding what inspires others too. So every time I went to Cambodia, I had never felt, it was like it gave me so much perspective in how I wanted to live. Cambodia still suffers from a lot of PTSD from the Cambodian genocide era. And if you drive out to like the provinces, it's like what you see in the movies. And it always made me question like how did I become so lucky to be born into Australia and living this lifestyle?
Yep.
Versus them, like we had the same odds. And they were born into, a province in Cambodia where you had to walk miles and miles for kind of clean water. And yeah, then that made me kind of dig into the story of like my family a little bit more. And I wanted to understand how I could impact or how I could give back to the children in Cambodia that unfortunately didn't get as lucky as I did growing up in Australia. So I built this clothing label, this clothing brand, and the idea was to tie in this humanitarian mission of mine for that tagline of you can't aspire to see what you can't see. And I wanted to give a window to these children to try and think a little bit bigger or just give them the opportunity to see what they can't see a little bit. So I came up with this very extensive business model, and there's a missing A in FRMEFEST, but also in my clothing label.
Okay.
My clothing label it's not launched yet, but it's called Blank, BLNC. There's no A in it. And that A stands for two things. My favorite word, which is altruism, and my dad's name, which is first letter of his name, which is Anthony, because my dad is a big inspiration for everything for me too. And I wanted the A to be almost like, so this is a bit of the business background, but a brand play. Like the A would be the stamp of the symbolism of all the altruistic work that we'll do behind Blank. And so I went to Cambodia and I met with an incredible man called Scott Neeson. And he was a Hollywood producer. And he produced like Titanic and X-Men and stuff. And he gave up that lifestyle and moved his entire life to Cambodia. And now he's created a lot of initiatives. He has the Rice Academy, and it's just non-for-profit schools. And he just lives his entire life fulfilling what his newfound purpose of like helping these Cambodian children have a chance at life. And he's just one of my biggest inspirations. So I randomly DM'd him, long story short. I met up with him and I
saw that when you were 16, you wrote down that your dream was to meet him.
Yes. And I met him, which is like crazy. That was like, the first time I've ever met anybody that, I felt like was such a far-fetched. And he was everything and more as to what I thought of him. And he gave me a tour of all of his work, and I fell in love with so many little children. But beyond that, I also went and partnered with my own schools. So I partnered with a couple of schools in Prey Veng province, and I funded their uniforms and textbooks and exercise books.
Wow.
And that like consumed me, and I was so happy. I was like, I can die happy now. I don't need to make money. I can just live here and do this. But very quickly came the realistic realization of I'm not at a place in my life yet where I can just do this full time. There's still so much obligation that I have in my home, in Sydney, Australia, to figure out. Because at this point, I was still figuring myself out. So I came home, I built out this clothing line, and I just received my stock 4 weeks ago. But I actually put this Blank mission on the side when I came across this other idea called FRMEFEST. And how that came about was, so my dad opened up a new store in Drummoyne.
Yep.
So Drummoyne Camera House, shout out,
hey.
Shameless shout out. And my dad, I think he's approaching the age where he's wanting to slow down and retire soon. So he actually closed down most of his other retail stores, and he only has one now, which is Drummoyne Camera House. And my brother has, he runs one called Hornsby Camera House.
Wow, that's cool.
But yeah, when my dad started this Drummoyne Camera House, it was his first destination retail store. So he's used to being in shopping centres where they rely heavily on foot traffic, and they didn't have to do much marketing at all. But because this one's a destination store, which means very, very minimal foot traffic, they had to double down on marketing. Now, for my dad, marketing is not a strong suit for him. He's very old school.
Yeah.
He's like, I just put it in the newspaper. I'm like, I don't think the creative roles on the news. Yeah, yellow pages. And so I enjoyed doing marketing and stuff. That was my bread and butter as well in the fitness space. So I helped my dad out, and I had this brilliant idea of doing a launch event. And this launch event, I was like brainstorming. I was like, how do I make this launch event as successful as possible? And I'm like, I think I need to invite some creators. I need to get some supplier support. I need to get some brands involved. So I did some shameless calls to like Fujifilm, I remember. Fujifilm, Sony, Canon, from a very, very small scale. I'm like, hey, would you come to this event and just
How are you
support it?
finding this? How, like, you just going on websites and just...
Well, because my dad's in the retail space.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Okay, so he'd have contacts.
Yeah.
And you just call and...
Yeah, exactly. But it wouldn't be the top dogs.
Yeah,
It would be the sale reps, which are also top dogs in my eyes.
Yep.
Because they're the ones that we have a relationship with.
Of course.
But it was just the reps. I'd call them. I'd have this idea. I'm like, hey, can you come and just support? And I think what I really had to learn at the time was pitching and sales. And I didn't realize I was doing that on the phone call. But I think when you're so passionate about it, it just all comes out. I hadn't like studied sales or anything at the time. I didn't know how to pitch anything, but I was just like, I really want to make my dad's business launch successful. Can you help me? And I had one brand say, yes, we'll come and help you. And that kind of put me in a spiral of researching events like VidCon, Comic-Con, South by Southwest. I'm like, yeah.
Is it to figure out what they're doing?
Yeah, figure out what they were doing. And I just became fascinated with the fact that this industry is the entire backbone for the entertainment industry. Like everything we see, like streaming, the movies, cinema, magazine, everything revolves around knowing how to use a camera. And I'm like, oh my God, I was going to swear just.
It's all coming out.
Okay. It's all coming out. I was like, oh my God, like this industry is so important, but there's no spotlight on it, at least in Australia. So I did more and more research, and I was like talking to my dad about it. My dad's like, can you relax? This is one event for the opening of a retail store. And I'm like, no, I cannot relax because there's nothing like this. There's Comic-Con that celebrates, their own niche of like comic books. And I'm trying not to butcher what Comic-Con is about. They have their own niche.
Yeah, it's more like pop culture and...
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there's... VidCon, which initiated from like the YouTube space. And then there's all these other events that celebrate their own niche. But I didn't feel like there was an event that celebrated our niche, which is the photographic visual storytelling cinema world.
Yes.
And as I became fascinated with this idea, I was like a crazy person on paper. I was like mind mapping, typing things up. Every day I would think it would like consume my mind in the shower. You know, when the screen goes foggy, I'm like drawing. I'm like, oh my God, this idea, that idea. And I would talk to people about it. But I think most of the responses that I got was, you're a little bit crazy.
So what's the initial idea? A massive event? The
initial idea was, I had a grand idea. And the grand idea was to eventually have an event that tours internationally and becomes a globally recognized summit for visual storytellers. That was the grand idea. I wanted people to be able to say like, I'm going to FRMEFEST next year. And people automatically know what FRMEFEST is. It's like the Comic-Con.
Yep.
But it was way beyond me. I was just this little girl trying to figure out herself, doing an event for her dad.
Where does like the massive goal come from? Like, what makes you swing for the fence? Like, if I had an idea like that, or if I feel like most people have an idea, they do what I did. I'm just going to run a little event at at my little studio, and hopefully a success would be like if 10 of my friends show up. Like, and I'm just going to start small.
Kenny, that is such a good question, because I had so many doubts. Like I doubted myself so much because I've never even run a little event before.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, what makes you think I'm just going to have this, like from off the bat?
Pure ignorance.
Yeah.
Pure ignorance and naivety. I think that naivety is the thing. I don't care what anybody says. Naivety is the thing that propels people to pursue big visions. I say that now because having had it gone through everything, there were so many moments where I was naive. So many. And I can't blame myself for it because I didn't have enough experience to know that I was being naive. But I can say this, naivety is what got me, what got us FRMEFEST. So I didn't know how much work was going to be involved when I wanted to do this. All I knew was that the vision became clearer and clearer. And, you know, I wanted to start a fashion label. I was in the fitness space. I want to have my own, you know, charity one day. But this was clearer to me than anything else. It was like crystal water, and I never felt that feeling before. So I'm like, this must mean something.
Yep.
And the more people I spoke to, and the more people that people thought I was crazy for wanting to do this, for whatever reason, made me want to do it more. So I think for me that was a sign, and it was also the fact that I'm like, there was so many moments where I was so scared to do it, and I backed away from the idea so many times. Like I gave up on it. I'm like, I'm going to work on my clothing label. But I kept coming back to the fact that if I don't pursue this because I'm scared, that makes me a fool.
Yes.
Because I'm scared. That's the only reason why I'm not doing it.
Correct.
That's the only reason.
Yeah.
But if I did it and it wasn't successful and I failed and everyone laughs at me, then the only person that's like laughing at me are people that were too scared to do it in the first place. And I would be so proud, and I had so much conviction about this, I would be so proud of the fact that even though I was scared, I still did it. And I did it not for any monetary value or gain. I did it because of my love for not only my family, but what I think the industry deserves. And if I failed doing it, the person that I became every step of the way to have gotten to a point where I failed is so much more than the person that I would have been that avoided doing it because I was scared. And that was the one and only thing that made me be like, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. And yeah, so that was the thing that pushed me over the edge.
That's amazing. I feel like at the time when I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, my best, and that's such a big event, and I feel like, was it around that time? I don't know. Have you heard of FRMEFEST and like the massive fail that was, and like the public humiliation that this guy went through? Like, wouldn't you see that and think, man, I don't want that to be me?
I watched that.
Yeah,
show on Netflix,
so have I.
like 3 times. That was like my benchmark. I think Fire Festival was like, I can never be that person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so at any point of the planning process, I was like, oh no, I'm going to be Fire Festival.
I can't be that guy.
Yeah, I signed on my biggest speaker, and I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be Fire Festival. I kept like repeating that in my head. Yeah. So yeah, I was terrified all the way through.
I
still am, to be honest. Now that it's completed, I still feel fear, because I think if you're pursuing growth, there will always be fear. And if you're not scared, you're not dreaming big enough. Yeah. So yeah, to answer your question in a full rounded way, that was the thing that pushed me over. And yeah, like I said earlier, the vision was beyond me. It was not a solo type vision. It was a community type vision. And so immediately I was like, I don't want to do this on my own. Even if I could, I don't want to do it on my own. I think that this is a celebration type. It's not, at the time I didn't even think of it as a business. I was like, I just want the industry to have this. And not only from a consumer creator level, but from an operating level as well. So at the time, before the creator economy boomed, I think that I found that the brands were struggling to really connect with the creators and the emerging Gen Z, because a lot of the teams, and I can speak on behalf of Camera House as well, because I grew up from that Camera House. Camera House was the thing that gave my family the platform. The team is all older, and I think photography and filmmaking has eras, and the era that Camera House kind of became what it is was a little bit of a later generation. And so from an operating level, I think there was a bridge that needed to be gapped, a gap that needed to be bridged with the creators. And I felt like a big convention or a big festival was what was going to help the industry connect with the. You're right. When I was a kid growing up, whenever I heard of photographer, I imagined like old man. Yeah. Exactly. Me too. That's always why when my dad was like, "Come back," I'm like, "No, I don't." Yeah, that's what the old people do. Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, I agree. So this idea came when there was still a little bit of like that transition phase. So yeah, I forgot what you were asking me.
No, that's cool. As you were saying all this, you had in one of the FRMEFEST posts that you made on the page, one of the slides was like, why FRMEFEST? And I just want to read out that list because it's almost like what you're touching on now. And it was, it's a lonely as fuck journey.
Yeah.
Monetization's not talked about enough. Real world networking is limited beyond social media. There's too much gatekeeping. Festivals focus on prestige, not accessibility. And emerging creators struggle to gain real exposure. Mm-hmm. How did you come up with that list? Like, what made you realize? Was it being in the store with your dad? How did you find this audience and find their pain points like this?
It was a lot of market research.
Yeah.
And I think I was very lucky that I think I'm at an age where I'm mature enough to understand what's happening in the business operating side of this industry. Mm-hmm. But I also have the same desires as all the creators that are struggling with these pain points. And yeah, that's kind of where it came from. But I can't take all the credit for the pain points because I had an amazing team as well. And I just want to do a mini shout out to my marketing girl, Jess Chen. She kind of helped me refine a lot of this. And
how did you find Jess?
We went to uni together.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we were in I think it was Marketing 101. We were in the same class. But yeah, we never really kept touch up until last year. And when we caught up again, FRMEFEST wasn't really in the picture when we caught up, but we just clicked. Yeah, she's very, very involved in business as well. Yeah, she's amazing.
How did you recruit her into this dream of yours?
Yeah, it's actually a really interesting story. We were recruiting a marketing team. Yeah. And I can't just credit Jess, there's also Cal, there's all these Ben, all these amazing people. So we were scouting for, marketing agencies. Yeah. And we started with marketing agencies because we felt like at the time that was already where we wanted a business-minded person that understood marketing. And so we spoke to a few and she just really stood out. And but she's the same age as me. So I think in terms of being in the right trenches at the right time, understanding the trends and things, it was just right. True. Yeah. She was like a when you know type of situation. But yeah, so her, myself, the team, my business partners, we kind of just refined all the pain points and we just, went guns blazing towards making sure that this event delivers what the pain points are in this industry.
Very good. And then you obviously had to plan this for a very long time. How do you know how much time you need? Because I imagine, not that I know, I watched that FRMEFEST thing and I feel like a lot of it's just not meeting deadlines, not planning well enough. A lot of this is everything, all the work that goes on beforehand and recognizing how much work is actually involved. Yeah. One of my not failures, but a big lesson that I learned from my very little meetup that I had was that I didn't give myself enough time to organize it. I just said, it's in 2 weeks, I'll figure it out. And then very quickly realised I probably needed more time than that. For something at such a massive scale, how do you know how much time you need to actually plan and prepare all this?
There's only one answer, and that's I didn't, and we don't. I don't think it's ever, I don't know anyone that's ever gotten the timeline right. Whether it's 2 weeks or 3 years or 4 years. Yeah. Even though we worked on it for so long, it was 2.5 years. 3 years, nearly 3 years for me before I onboarded my business partners. We thought it was plenty of time. Yeah. But literally the day before FRMEFEST, we were not enough time.
We need more time.
Yeah. And even post FRMEFEST when we did all the reporting, we were all of our opportunity growth or recommendations is if we had more time, this is what we would have done. If we had more time, this would have been the results
when
and it
you
would have been better.
When you reflect back, they're the things that, yeah.
So time is such a special topic. But we didn't anticipate how long it took, but we had a framework. So if I backtracked a little bit, I felt like the vision was beyond me. So what I did was I went and I cold called 1 million event companies because I thought at the time that that's what I needed to help build this at this scale. I wanted to understand what type of expertise were required in this space to pull something off like this. So I was reaching out, cold calling, meeting random people in events and seeing whether it was the right fit for a partnership. And a lot of the conversations would lead towards me being a client, like FRMEFEST is a client. But I'm like, I don't want that. I want to share the responsibilities. I want to share the vision, and let's grow this thing together because this is like almost a startup. It's not just an event, you know? So I wanted to build something with somebody as well. At this point, I had done like a crazy amount of market research already. I had already gotten verbal buy-in from brands. And yeah, I've already floated the idea with the industry and like some of the creator economy already. So I went in looking for business partners that could just help me deliver the event logistics. And and that's where I came across Julia and Victor. We met at a networking event. And that partnership eventuated quite quickly. And yeah, we just kind of got to work. And in the initial few months, it was more about building the brand, the optics of the brand, proofing the concept. I had to, learn and study and take some courses on sales and pitching, understanding what the brands needed, because at this time, funding was such an important piece of this. The event was, the budget was over $1 million. So it was, I'm like, I don't have that kind of money. So I needed, not only the brand's backing, but also some finance to help run it the way that it did. So yeah, then I learned about like pitch decks and how to present it, and it went like
How are you learning about all these things? Like, how do you know what to prioritize, what to learn, and then go about learning it?
I honestly didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I was just like scrambling. I'm like, okay, I'm about to I just booked in these meetings with these people. I need to make sure that I know exactly what to do. So it was all impromptu. Yeah. I think so much, I listen to a podcast every morning, and so much of like the things that I listen to is about like, make sure you have a full blown plan before you go into anything. But I actually think slightly differently. I think that the more you plan, the more you feel like you don't know, and the more you feel like you need to plan.
Yeah.
And then there's just this never ending cycle of planning.
True.
And by the time you start executing, the person that planned like 75% less than you did has already started, and they have insight that you don't already. So yeah,
True.
I just kind of went into it scared.
True. And I feel like the more initially, this happens a lot in the creative space, like the more you learn, the more you realize how far behind you are, and then it almost scares you off even more.
Because like outside of the FRMEFEST conversation, the more I learn, the more I feel like I don't know.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And you go through, I'm going through this phase right now and I went to Vin Zhang's speaking course like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I need help on that public speaking. but yeah, he was talking about how there's this little transition period. I don't know if this was my learning or he said it, but there's this transition period where you're learning so much. If we go backtrack, you don't know that much, but because you don't know that much, you think you know everything. So you come across extremely confident. And then ironically, the more you learn, for me, I'm in this transition where it's like, I feel like I know, like I'm learning so much, but I don't know anything.
Yes.
I'm like the smallest fry in this massive ocean, this plankton floating in this ancient,
Yes.
that's what I feel. And that's ironically making me feel like not that confident, because I'm like, I don't know anywhere near as much as you would about the podcast world. I don't know anything. And that's making me carry myself in a way where maybe I don't know that much. And then you break through this little transition period where you start understanding that like we will never know everything. And what we can own is the things that like you do know, and just be confident in the things that you've experienced. But I'm yet to get there. Anyway, coming back to what was I saying?
I do feel like to be, especially in your role in this whole event, you do have to be a bit more of a generalist than someone in my position. Like creatives just have to worry about the creative. Whereas like you need to have, even though you may have a team that are doing things, you have to have a basic understanding of many things to be able to even speak on it. And have be able to communicate with people.
Yeah, I found myself FRMEFEST. Oh my gosh, I could talk about FRMEFEST all day. It was the most fulfilling project of my life to date. not because of the outcome though, but because of everything that I had to learn about myself moving on.
Totally.
Yeah, it was like a big mirror, like consistently held to my face every day. Through every conversation, I would go back into my car and I'm like, oh my gosh, how could I have like said that better? Or did that even come off clearly?
Yes.
It was an extremely humbling experience. But yeah, I'm still learning, but I think I got a lot better in reading the room. Like, so when I would go into these pitches with these
I really want to talk
brands,
about that. Can we talk about pitches for a while?
Yeah.
Like how you got in a place to actually pitch. I saw you posting stories of you. It looked like you were recording your pitches and then you'd go home and listen to them over again to see where you could improve. Can you talk about that whole process of like pitching to a company like Canon and Sony? Like how do you get in that room in the first place? And then how do you prepare to pitch to someone like that?
So I think the first step is being brave enough to reach out to these companies and being okay with the rejections.
Yes.
So when I was drafting up this, what I thought was an amazing email, that took me way too long.
Yeah.
Drafting out these cold emails, I was just sending them emails. Hey, I have this idea. Can we chat about it? Even the email was like structured. So I would think about, if I was on the receiving end of this email, what do I want to see first that would allow me to, like, that would increase the likelihood of me wanting to buy in, like to even just talking more about it. So I would position the email to be, you know, a little short introduction of who I am and my credibility.
Yeah.
And this is so, this doesn't come naturally to me. I'm not used to talking about myself, but I had to get used to that for this project. Like people want to know why they should trust me. And so I did a little introduction of my background in business and my family's background in business. And then I went straight into the vision and why our industry needs it. And not just from a consumer level, why you need it, you know, why your brand needs it. I gave that first. And then I told them, like, I want to discuss more, but I had to be really careful about how much I shared in the email, because if I gave too much, then they would be like, oh, that's everything I need to know. I'll think on it and I'll come back to you.
Yeah, true.
But you want to just give just enough to pique their interest, and they want to discuss it with you, because that's what I wanted. I wanted the opportunity to be face to face with them, and present to them what we need. And what I found, so long story short, I booked in all these amazing brands in. I hired a boardroom and I pitched it to them. I'm like, look at me, I'm such a big dog. Shaking under the table. And yeah, what I found was I was so prepared. I thought that what would allow that buy-in would be what I prepared. But oftentimes that interest peaked from these amazing, like these general managers of these huge companies. Their interest peaked when I went off script. Every time we received a buy-in, I felt like it was because I went off script. And when I go off script, and you might have felt that in this conversation, I go off script when I'm passionate about something. Yeah,
exactly. I was about to say.
Yeah. And that's what happened. As soon as we got to the vision part of the deck, I went on a tangent. And I would talk to them like this, like I would just stare at them in the soul. I'm like, I know you need this. And it was understanding that this meeting isn't about what I want from you. It's not about me trying to get funding. And that's what I realized quickly, because I went into it thinking that. But this is about what I can do to help you. It's literally like, I can't win if you don't win. So ultimately, I want you to win. And this is what you need. So, I guess to summarize that point, I don't believe that we can win on our own. I think like my wins are off the back of other people winning. And that was a mentality I went into. And I think that's what bought, their buy-in, because this was only a vision. There was no proof of concept. And I obviously don't have a background in running something like this. So in my mind, it's like, how dare I pitch something that I've never done it before to someone and ask for their money, you know?
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm thinking about when I saw these, like, that you were pitching to these brands. I'm like, you have nothing to show for it. Like, you've never done this before.
I have a fitness background. That's it.
It's just an idea in your head that you have that you're trying to convince people of.
You would be surprised by how much of your conviction and how much of your passion, when you really, really deeply believe in something, that's when people start believing in it too. It's not the logical. I mean, yeah, obviously there is a little bit of that, like, you know, what's the ROI for me? That's important, but I actually think that that's secondary to selling as a feeling. Like them agreeing to coming on board to this vision, that was a feeling that they felt in the pitches. It's not like, okay, I can make this much money if I do this. I think it is a little bit of that, but I think it's more so what they felt in the meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to believe you.
Yeah. Yeah. And how you do that is, so much of how you communicate your thoughts. Because you can have genius ideas in your head, but if you can't communicate it, no one's going to know about them.
True.
And that's why I was recording them. Yeah, I don't think I'm legally allowed to record conversations, but I mean, it was for my own, learning.
Yeah.
But
and then what were you picking up when you were listening to them over again? What were some of the things that you thought you could have done better? Like, what are you trying to pick out?
And so at first, I'm like, I want to know what I sound like talking about this. Like, do I hesitate? Is there a lot of thinking, filler words?
Especially in situations like that, I feel like they're like a blur and you leave and you can't even remember
100%.
the things that you said.
Exactly.
Yeah, true.
Exactly. So, and I just also wanted to learn, like, I wanted to understand, like, everything about their response. So how quickly did they respond, and why did they respond that quickly, or why did they take time to think about it? What did I say that triggered that response? What's missing in the things that they feel their industry needs? And sometimes with these leaders in the industry, they're very good at communicating. And the way that they communicate for someone like me that was learning required, like, I needed to study it. So every time I listened to the podcast, I listened to the conversation.
Yeah.
Every time I listened to the conversation, I picked up, like, oh, they need this in the industry. Oh, they didn't like when I said that. Oh, that really rang a bell for them. They really responded to that. And that sharpened my, I'm going to say, like, my knife. That sharpened my skill every time I went into a new pitch. Because I think ultimately the industry shares the same vision, even though it's a different brand and different brand ethos and different, like, brand missions.
A lot of them are serving the same people.
Exactly. It's serving the same purpose. And so it actually did get easier. The pitch did get easier. And I became more confident and I became more assured as to what the industry needed. So, yeah.
How much were you, like, banking on these pitches? Like, if they didn't accept it, had you gone through that process?
I did. I was like, where am I going to get the money if no one believes in it?
Yeah.
But that's where the naivety came in, because I think if I allowed that fear to be bigger than it was, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have pitched it to the level of conviction that I had in the meeting. I would have, I didn't want a backup plan. And to be honest, that's also why I put a pause on my project with my fashion label, because I think for me, it's like, for this FRMEFEST to actualize, I need to be completely and 100% dedicated to this. And I am not taking no for an answer. And I think people feel that in conversation. Like, they might not have believed in my vision, but I didn't want to know about what I was going to do if they said no. I just wanted to know, how am I going to get that yes? Yeah, it wasn't an option.
True. That would make an impact too, though. Like, if I saw you and you were doing all these other things, it's like, how much of a priority is this really compared to you? Like, she's not doing anything else except this. Like, her sole focus is this, and that would signal something to the person that you're speaking to. Exactly.
Because I actually I sacrificed a lot for FRMEFEST. I've not drawn a single cent, a single income dollar for the last 3 years. And so the preparation financially that I needed to do to pursue this full time, knowing that the first year is not going to be, it's not a profitable business that I was trying to aim for. Like, this was just for the celebration of the industry. And a lot of that stemmed from the love of for my family as well. I wanted to see my parents see the fruits of their labor. But I think that just goes to show that I am, if I can do it, anyone can do it, because I'm not anyone special. I'm just someone that had a very, very strong and clear vision. And no was not a vocab in my mind in the last 3 years.
You think you got that from your grandfather, seeing something that you've never done before?
Maybe.
And having the belief that like you can do something beyond anything that you've seen yourself do before.
Maybe. But
like there's more out there. Like I'm capable of so much more. Even though I've got no evidence to prove that I can pull this off, I still think I can.
Yeah. 100%. I didn't know that I could. But what I knew was that I need the industry to feel the celebration. That's what I needed for the industry. But like, so my dad, if there was any man in my life, aside from my partner as well, but my dad, you know, he is like, my biggest North Star as well, my mum and my dad. But I speak of my dad in a business setting because he is like the businessman in our family. And even he had doubts. And up until this point, my dad was my North Star, and he could see things before I could see things. So everything that he said was like, you know, very, very, like I just wanted to, I just took everything he said on. But with FRMEFEST, this vision was too big for him, his comfort levels. And I think for him, he feared what it would bring for me. What if my daughter fails? What if it's not everything? What if it shatters her? What if, and like this father instincts kicked in for him, and he's like, I don't want this for you. And quite frankly, I don't think it's going to work. Like, it's never happened before. What makes you think you can do it? And he didn't he didn't say that from a point of like, I don't believe in you, but he did it from a protective standpoint.
Of course.
But for me, that frustrated me because I'm like, you think I can't do it? And usually my dad's used to me just kind of saying, okay, you're right, I'll pivot. But this time I was like, no, I'm going to challenge you. And I even asked my dad, I was like, how much do you think I can get from these brands? And my dad said, he gave me a very small figure. And I'm like, I don't think so. And then like 7-8 months later, when we started getting traction, my dad said it like with Asian culture, parents are not, like, words of affirmation is not a thing. Yeah, I love you is very rare.
I've heard.
Or I'm proud of you. I think I've heard that once in my life. But they show it through other ways.
Yes.
And there was this very, very clear moment throughout this journey where I started getting funding. Canon, you know, Aaron believed in the vision. He called me the next day and was like, we're in it big. And we really believe in it. And he spoke all these words that I wanted to hear from my dad. But I think it was that moment that I realized, like, I think growing up, my dad has been my North Star, and he'll forever be. But it doesn't have to apply to everything. And sometimes my conviction is louder than what my dad has to say. And this was one of them. This was the first time in my life where I'm like, screw you, Dad, I'm going to do this. And so when he started seeing that these major organizations was backing it, he came up to me and he was like, I was wrong. And I'm like, whoa, did you just say that? My dad is wrong. And that was like, that felt really good.
Yeah, but, totally. Wow, that's huge. I can imagine. And then like just getting that one yes would give you so much confidence to like keep going, right? Sometimes you just need those little milestones where it's actually working. When I was there, what I found like I felt would be hard is getting all these brands to actually be part of the same event. A lot of the events that I know, especially in the creative space here, is like only a Sony event or only a Canon event. And I'm like, how the hell did they get them all to be, especially when it looked like a Canon event. Yeah. Like they were the major sponsors. I'm like, how do you get all these other brands to kind of just be like, follow suit and be a part of the same event? Because you just don't see it anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that an obstacle?
It was. So as you would imagine, there is a bit of a competitive nature amongst the brands, right? Because everyone's, you know, they want to be the best that they can be. I wasn't making a business out of FRMEFEST. I was building a movement and it's a vision. And the vision is shared. And so the buy-in wasn't solely because of ROI. It was because we want to make this industry bigger, bolder, stronger. And that requires everybody. So we just started witnessing this amazing thing where the brands they were just, not that they were working directly together, but everyone knew like what they were going to, how they were going to be a part of FRMEFEST.
Yeah, to some aspect they need to work together.
Yeah, and so they
happen.
needed to. And all the brands went above and beyond to make sure that their booth and stand was, engaging for the people attending. It was aesthetic, and there was a bit of a wow factor to it, and they were trying to be different.
There was a lot of effort put into a lot of those
So
stands.
much, so much
they were
of
fantastic.
it. More than I could ask for.
Yep.
And then so many of the leaders in the brands really said, like, I think this is an opportunity for the brands to really highlight that we share the same vision, and that we're backing all the creators that are coming into this space now. And I think what the brands also felt is, if I'm not a part of this, then what kind of brand does that make us? Because FRMEFEST is highlighting a vision.
Was that a little bit of a strategy, like a bit of FOMO? Like if you're getting all these brands, you can then approach others and be like, hey.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, 100%. I think FOMO was a big deal.
Yep.
But yeah, there were complications. I think especially post FRMEFEST report, like when we were going through the reporting phase, we're constantly trying to make sure that the brands feel like they're well represented in the marketplace, like in their market.
Of course.
And we just want to make sure that the brands are happy and not...
I feel like you'd have to be very delicate with that.
Yeah.
Right? Give everyone the same amount of love.
The spotlight that they deserve. We're constantly refining and making sure that the brands are happy as well.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Was there... Can you remember or pinpoint a moment in this whole experience where there was like no turning back from here? Like for me, even though I had this very tiny event, it was all just a bit of an idea. And the second I posted the first video, like when I pressed post, I was like, holy shit, I have to do this now.
Yeah.
Was there a moment for you?
It was when Canon signed on.
When they accepted it?
Like when... How
did you feel when that happened? Because it's all just an idea, and you can back out at any time until like this moment.
Yeah, I remember I recorded a video of myself right after the phone call, right after I got off the call with Aaron, and it was just like, it was so cringe. I'm not going to show anyone this, but I was like, oh my god, I just got the biggest.
I want that video.
Maybe I'll find it and I'll share it with you. It's so cringe, but I just wanted to like mark that milestone moment.
Of course.
I think it was that moment. There were a couple of other moments because at that point it was just a verbal agreement. It wasn't signed yet. There was a moment when all the brands signed. There was a moment when I onboarded my first speaker.
Yes.
There was a moment when I onboarded business partners. When the teams, like the internal team, started getting bigger and bigger.
It's all just becoming real.
Yeah,
right?
it was
this little idea in your head.
Yeah.
I feel like it would feel amazing and like terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. I think in the last 3 years was the most amount of anxiety that I've felt in my life.
I can imagine, man.
I was like, there were nights where I wasn't sleeping. But
you had some long nights. I saw you post stories like you're up real late, like super in the morning. Like I think it was like 2 a.m. or something.
Yeah,
and you're communicating with people. Like there are other people, like you've got the whole team on board. Everyone's buying in, and they're all working like these crazy hours.
Yeah, my average sleep time was like 2:30, 3 a.m. every night.
Yeah,
it's not good, and I definitely felt the effects of it, especially after FRMEFEST.
Of course.
But yeah, it's just that relentless pursuit. I don't think we've ever heard a story where a successful founder of anything didn't put in the hard yards in the beginning. Yeah, and it's so real, and so much of that of the cliche things that we hear in like pursuit of success, like you're going to lose friends along the way. There'll be people criticizing you, you have haters. All of that is so real. And I remember very clear moments where I'm like, oh my God, it's happening to me. Not that I was like becoming successful, because I wouldn't consider myself successful just yet, but successful in the way where I think the community came together. Like that was really where my real success is. But I started having friends like be like, you've changed, like you're not putting that much time into us anymore. Your focus is like, not everything is about your work, like all these like little comments that I would start to feel like bad about myself. I'm like, oh, am I changing? But then I started learning that like I would be doing myself a disservice if I stayed the same person that I was yesterday. And so like if you're going to be someone that's going to make me feel bad or compelled to be attached to who I was yesterday, maybe this isn't the type of like friendship that I need right now. Like that doesn't mean that you're a bad person or we're not right for each other right now, but it means that I just need to tighten up my focus, not just with like the work that I'm doing every day, but with the people I'm surrounding myself with every day, and that's okay. And I think I struggled with that because I'm so much about like people and friends and relationships.
Yes, true.
So having people
That would be hard for someone like you.
having people drop off was it was challenging for me, but that's like I think that's a growth thing, and I don't think I would have been able to achieve all of this if I had kept some people around in my life.
True. I agree.
Yeah.
I feel very similarly. Like in order to have big dreams, right? Say you have a big dream or a big goal. I think of this whenever I set big dreams or big goals, is that like the version of me today can't achieve that massive dream and that massive goal. He just can't.
Yeah.
I have to become someone else. Like I have to change in order to achieve the things that I want to achieve. Like I'm not there. There's so many things that I want in life, but there's no way that I could do them now in the version that I am today.
So true, because then otherwise you would have already achieved it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like you have to change, and for people to make you feel bad for doing so, they're holding you back from growth.
Yeah. And I think for me it was also understanding that their intention isn't to make me feel bad or
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Their intention is, I mean, they're the way that they carry themselves is just a product of like the life that they've lived and their way of thinking.
And they have their own dreams and goals, which
Exactly.
obviously take them elsewhere.
And just because we don't align
Yeah.
doesn't mean that like I'm better or I'm worse,
Yes,
you know? And
correct.
so yeah. There's this my favorite philosopher, I don't know if I can call him a philosopher, but have you heard of Jim Rohn?
I've heard of Jim Rohn.
So he was Tony Robbins' mentor.
Okay.
And he's my dad's like favorite, like not like virtual mentor.
Yes.
He's not around anymore today.
Okay.
But my dad, I think at one point, like on a daily basis or weekly basis, he would send me podcasts or videos from this man named Jim Rohn.
Yeah.
And if you have a chance, you know, at some point,
I will.
you know, this weekend or something, listen to some of his stuff because it's so profound. And like I think everything ties down to the fact that like you like the real prize, and like I mentioned this earlier, the real prize is really who you're becoming. It's never like the success of the end outcome. Because say that you and I, we made $10 million. We built a company, we made $10 million or $100 million. And then a month later we went bankrupt and we lost everything. We might have lost everything, but what no one could ever take away from us is the know-how of how we built a $100 million company. And that's something that we could do again. And that's really the prize of having had built that company. It wasn't the 100 million.
It's who you became to get the 100 million.
And that I think that was like a huge North Star for me as well. Like when there are times where I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be a fire festival. Or, oh my God, this isn't going to work out. We don't have enough money with this. I'm like, yeah, but who am I becoming? And yeah, that would be my safe space in my brain.
So then when it comes to that thought process, did you ever determine what success would look like after this event? Outside of numbers and metrics, like was there something that you'd look at that would determine whether or not this was a successful event to you?
I'm going to be so raw and honest. Post FRMEFEST, I like dug myself in this little hole. I covered my hole with the soil, and I just like hibernated in there.
I don't even want to look at it.
I don't want to know anything. This is so ironic, right? Because you'd think that after such an amazing, successful event, I would be celebrating all the glory of it. But if you look on my Insta now, there's nothing on what FRMEFEST was.
I know, thanks. I was looking for it.
You're like, where is it? And I think, I honestly, I'm still going through it now, but I didn't know how to receive the event post, because I was so dedicated and tunnel vision to getting it to what it was that weekend. I hadn't thought about anything post event. I hadn't thought about what would be success for me. And maybe that's something that I need to learn to be better at, because I think it's really important to celebrate not even just at the end, like throughout all the
Yes.
little wins that you're getting. And yeah, because I was so not blinded, but I was just so focused on getting it to that. When the event ended, I was like, what now? Like,
Yeah.
and yeah, there were a lot of things I was still like learning about, post event. I needed to report to the brands. I needed to start thinking about what next. I needed, like, what is it going to be? Is it going to be exactly 12 months from now till we do another event? Is that enough time? How do I make it bigger? How do I make it better?
Yeah, true. And then I can imagine, like, it may be a success to you, but was it a success in their eyes to whoever participated?
The brands needed to have one. I'm taking all the feedback very seriously. The team is as well. And then, like, is it feasible for me? Because I invested everything that I have into it, from spiritually, mentally,
It's
physically,
a lot of energy, man.
financially.
Yeah.
Like, what about me? How do I make this sustainable? How do I continue FRMEFEST? How can I be in a good position to be able to continue FRMEFEST long term? And yeah, I just, after FRMEFEST, I turned off all of my notifications. And not because I didn't care, but because I think I cared so much.
Yeah.
I just needed a little break. And I did feel a little bit burnt out, but I turned it all off.
Just a little?
Yeah. I slept for like days. And I even had moments where I was like crying about it. It was so weird. I was like, why am I feeling all these emotions on the sun? Because I think I compressed everything. And yeah, I'm learning a lot through that. But yeah, I think FRMEFEST has a very, very bright future. And it's only, just the beginning. So yeah.
That's really exciting. Something that we missed that I want to touch on, like we spoke about getting the brands on board. What about like the speaker? Like some of these speakers were massive. Like how do you get Vin Jiang to come on? Like I've looked up to that guy for the longest
Me
time.
too.
And it wouldn't even have been that much longer before then. He had a speaking event and I really wanted to go. And it was like thousands of dollars. And I was like, damn. But then when I saw him at FRMEFEST, like that was as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I'm going. And I'm like, for this much money, when I know how much his real events cost, I was like,
it's a no-brainer,
it's
right?
a no-brainer. Like I went, like, even if it was just him, I'd be there.
Yeah.
How did you get him? How did you go about finding the speakers?
Yeah.
And like, how do you get someone like that on board?
Yeah.
Is it a similar process to the brands?
So it's the same mentality. My initial thought was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to. But that's also what I thought about the brands.
Do the brands come first or the speakers? Because I feel like once you have one, it's a draw card to get the other.
100%.
So is it the brands and then the speakers?
So I was just as confused at that question. I'm like, which one do I do first?
Because I feel like you could go to the brands and say, hey, we have Vin and we have all these other guys speaking, and that's a draw card to them. 100%.
So I did the brands first, but in my pitch deck, I included like the people that I want on there. And I also explained, I'm not taking no for an answer, and you can probably tell by the way that I'm talking to you, this is going to work. So it was that conviction that came through that sold the brands. And once we started getting a little bit of buy-in, that's when I started the speaker process as well. So it was a healthy balance of both at the same time. Yeah. And that was a little bit challenging.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because as you can imagine, the first year, there's no proof of concept.
Yeah, exactly.
So all the speakers that I onboarded initially were quite, like, is this even a real thing?
What is this?
Yeah, some of my, like...
Never heard of this. It's not even spelt right.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is a scam. Actually, like, after the event, some of the creators came up and was like, I thought this was a scam. I was like, well, I'm glad that you're here. Like, even we have a core creators group, and there's five amazing talents in there. And I remember, I'm going to name drop him, John Tan.
Go for it.
Good friend.
Yes, I follow him. Great guy.
Yeah, he's amazing. Such good energy to be around. But I emailed him when FRMEFEST had no brand buy-in, nothing yet. It was just the concept. And I was like, hi, I'm putting together a committee board. Do you want to join it? This is what we're about. He opened the email. He told me this openly. He opened the email and just left it because I thought it was a scam. And I was like... Anyway, and then I ended up emailing him again and then talking to him again, and he came in. But that just kind of acts as like, I guess, the foundation of what I was balancing the whole time. How I got the speakers on board was I had a wish list, and we tiered it It was like God tier, which included
Yeah, I like that game. Yeah.
God tier, which had Vin Zhang in it.
Yep.
It had Casey Neistat in it.
Oh, wow.
And like Sam Calder, like
No
all
way.
these crazy people.
Yeah.
And like I would look at that list and I would laugh. Like it was just
Yes.
it was just like a meme. It was a joke. And then we had our top tier, mid tier.
That's awesome.
And even the mid tier people were people that I felt was out of reach, you know. But you know, you never like. There's nothing for me to lose at this point. I had the brands in. They believe in the vision. And I just had to do the same for the speakers. But the approach was slightly different in that there was a more of a personal approach. Like it was like this, like we're building a relationship rather than a bit more corporate and formal. And every speaker responded differently. So it was about reading the room as well. Like some speakers preferred to only communicate via email.
Yeah.
Or like talk to my agent, talk to my manager.
Yes.
And then some was like, let's get on a call. Like they prefer to just talk quickly. And then there were some speakers like Tom Nosk was really quick at deciding as well. And I think that is a testament to how successful he is as well. Like he's just like he sees the vision very quickly. He sees where it would benefit him and where it would benefit the industry very quickly, and then he'll make a decision on the spot.
Yep.
So I think the challenging part with these speakers was that everybody decided differently at their own pace, and I felt like I had to morph into so many different versions of myself.
Yes.
To allow this kind of conversation to flow. But yeah, I think the running challenge was that this was just a proof of concept. FRMEFEST had no real backing yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just so amazing to see all the speakers really believe in it.
Yeah.
So in terms of Vin Zhang, are you wondering about Vin Zhang?
Yeah. But even with getting the speakers, I feel the same way about this podcast. It's like initially it was so hard to get anyone to respond to any of my message. I was just reaching out to people. And then the more that I've like built this, the easier it's been. And I've also realized that they all want to communicate differently, and I'm the one that has to adapt to them.
Yeah.
You know, there are some, like, I'll send them a DM, and they'll be like, oh, can you send me an email? And initially I was like, dude, we're talking right here.
Like,
why do we have to go over there? But I'm like, well, that's how they communicate. And I, you know, I have to respect them and how they do things. So I'm the one that has to adapt. So, I get that. But, yeah, how did we get Vin?
Yeah, that's a good one.
And you not only did you get him to speak, like he was interacting. Like I couldn't believe it. After he spoke, he's like meeting people.
Yeah.
And I was there with my girlfriend. I'm like, are we allowed to do that?
Can we touch him?
And she was like, I think we can.
That's so good.
It was wild. I'm like, how'd they get him to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Vin is, like, first, I just want to say, Vin is such an incredible human being. Like, what you see on screen is like who he is in real life as well and more. And yeah, because I think every creator is different. Like they have an online personality and they have a real life personality, and then some creators are exactly what you see on screen. And so Vin was on my wish list. I knew that if I sent him a random DM, he probably wouldn't see it.
Yeah, true.
And so what happened was he had a series of like events. This was over like 12 months. And I just went to every single one of them.
Wow.
And I would put my hand up, even though I never got chosen. I was still there. And I think what was happening was I was also learning about him. Beyond the things that he was teaching, I was learning about what mattered to him and how he kind of built relationships, how he responded to the crowd. I don't know, I was just learning about him, but I didn't go with the intention to learn him. I went with the intention I just wanted to support and hopefully, you know, get him on to FRMEFEST. And then I started hearing things like people would approach him to do keynote speaking gigs and he wasn't in a place where he would say yes. And I'm like, oh my God, what makes me think he would come to FRMEFEST? Like, and I don't, you know, we didn't have the level of funding that people would normally pay Vin to speak either. So I was honestly wishful thinking. Is that me?
No, that was me. My bad. Yeah, go on.
And then I have a friend, Can. He is also like an incredible friend that really supported me throughout this whole thing. And I told him, I was like, I want Vin. And he was like, Can had a connection with Vin. I think Can ran some of his like campaigns and things like that. So Can was like, hey, Vin is doing another speaking event. You should come along and you should do the VIP. And VIP is where there's just like about 20 people after the event, and Vin will answer questions, and it's a bit more of an intimate setting. So he gave me the opportunity to do that, and I was there, and I took photos with Vin and everything. And then we reached out to him on email. It was like through his website, and his manager Andy, he replied, and I was like so shook when I saw that email. I'm like, oh my God, is this Vin's team? Like, what?
You almost send it without expecting, you're like, they're not going to reply to this. Yeah.
And I don't think it's because I went to the events at all. I don't think that my efforts of going to the event at the time was what eventuated to them responding. I think that they just saw this as a cool opportunity in this industry, and they wanted to find out more. So I initially spoke to Andy, and then after that I spoke to Vin. And it was a very honest and raw conversation. I am pretty sure we went off topic as well. So it started.
Was this over the phone?
No, it was on Zoom.
Zoom, wow.
Yeah. So it started off just us, talking about like FRMEFEST and why this phone call was happening, this Zoom call was happening.
Did it feel like the pictures you were giving to brands? Did it feel like that similar setting?
I went in thinking it was going to be like that, but it wasn't. Yeah, because what I quickly learnt with Vin is that I don't think he's the kind of person, he's definitely not transactional. He's very, like, I will only choose to do the things that I believe in. And I think that's just what makes him so amazing. So when I was sharing my story, my background, as similar to what I was sharing with you about my family, why this all matters to me, what I really want for the industry and my family, I think Vin could really feel into the story, and he related to some of it, and
I can imagine from knowing his backstory as well.
And I think he could feel the level of impact he would have by being a part of it too. And and it just conversations kept flowing from there, and I remember post that meeting, I'm going to send Vin the selfies that I took with him. So I went on Instagram and I sent him the selfies that I took with him, and he's like, I remember you. I'm like, I don't know if you're just saying that, or but I'll take it.
He says that to everyone.
I'll take it. But then long story short, he agreed to come on board, and he did it out of the goodness of his heart. And that was also a huge milestone moment. I called my dad straight away, and I'm like, guess what? I sent him in like an image, an article of Vin, because my dad, he's not as in touch with this space as much. So he was like, no way you didn't. And I was like, I did. That's how I got him.
That's amazing. That's such a good story. And he was so good.
Yeah.
He was so good.
He was so good.
Like, I went there just for him, and I was not disappointed.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I've gone to a lot of his talks, and I've always come away with something new. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he's so inspirational.
I was just, when you can't stop staring at someone.
Yeah. Where you're like, how do I be you?
Yeah. Especially like how we were speaking earlier about like being afraid to like speak in public and put yourself out there. For me, the fear has always been like being in front of a camera. And to watch someone like embody someone that just has, it seems as though he has like no fear and is as comfortable and energetic as he is. And you're just like, wow.
I know. And he's so humble as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't say enough good things about him.
Yeah. Incredible. And then I also met a lot of people there as well. But many people that I knew, it was crazy because and obviously this is something that you wanted to achieve by creating the event, but there were so many creatives. I was there both days, that I only knew online, and it felt so good to meet people I knew them, and we'd spoken, we comment on each other's posts all the time, and there were so many people that I physically met for the first time, and I was like, that's what made it so good to me.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the things you were trying to achieve. So not only did I get to meet people that I only knew online, but I met so many new people. Actually, 2 weeks ago, I had Steph Peterson on, who was one of the speakers from Canon's talk, and I met her through the event.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like after the talk.
Yeah.
It was crazy. The connection happened. Like I went there with my girlfriend, and the 5 Canon ambassadors were speaking, and I'm just watching, and Steph started talking. And my girlfriend straight away, because she works in fashion, she made a connection. She's like, I didn't realize they were just talking. My girlfriend realized that she's the girl that's in fashion. Then she started talking about her background. She said that she just came back from the Philippines. My girlfriend's from the Philippines. My girlfriend goes straight on her Instagram. She's like, Ken, look, she's in fashion and she's from the Philippines. There was this connection straight away. And she was like so invested in what she was saying.
Yeah.
Followed her straight away. And I'm just laughing. I'm like, man, what they like? My girlfriend's like fanning out big time. Didn't even know who this person was 5 minutes ago. And then when they finished talking, she's like, Ken, we have to go and say hi to her. And like, she just left me and went
She's
looking
like,
for
bye.
Steph. Yeah, she was like, bye. I'm like, where'd she go? And I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh,
She's
I
like, I
love
have to
that.
say hi to her. And we met her through there. She followed her straight away. They're like sending DMs.
Oh my God, that's
And
so
then
cool.
I asked her to come on the pod. She came last week. She's amazing. She is amazing, like so friendly. And then we've become good friends. And it was all through that.
Yeah,
So like
I love that.
getting the chance to meet people that I knew only through the online space, but also getting the opportunity, like you don't get that opportunity anywhere else.
Yeah, for sure. I think that was like, yeah, definitely a very fulfilling part of my goal for me too. Yeah, I love that. I think there's a lot of lifelong friendships to be created.
Totally.
And like you said, it's like the actualization of seeing them in real life, because up until that point, they're just on the screen.
Exactly.
You know, and we don't know who each other are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was definitely a vibe of Vin did it. It's crazy. Vin did this while he was talking, and so did Steph. But the realization that like you guys need to talk to each other. You guys don't talk, and they both made everyone in the crowd stand up and interact with someone that they didn't know that was next to them. Like they both did that, and it was almost like a general realization that like we're here to meet each other. We don't get this opportunity anywhere else.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it. And it's like we needed them to instigate it, because it's like a lot of us are introverts and we're not used to being in spaces like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, you have this opportunity right now, like take advantage of it. And I was able to like realize in real time what that meant by creating these new friends.
It's interesting because the creative space, often we're all behind the camera, right?
Yeah.
Like we're all operating,
And
editing.
editing in our rooms on our own.
We don't need to socialize.
No.
But I think a lot of the creators, they're entrepreneurs, I would say. Like everyone is, doing their own thing.
Yep.
And in business, one of the most important skills to have is people skills.
Yeah.
And who you have around you and your connections. So yeah, I think that FRMEFEST also gave a moment to highlight that, proximity is really important, and you get to choose your proximity. So here we are, we collated everybody here. Like you just kind of pick and choose and put the effort in. Yeah.
And it made us all realize like there's power in that. And they're becoming more popular, I think, not so much events at this scale, but even small in-person meetups are becoming really popular. And I feel like it's because we're online so much that we're starting to crave in-person connection. And I feel like it's a big reason why like run clubs are becoming so popular. You're seeing I watch YouTube a lot, and there's a ton of like cafes that are just playing music and having like, it's turning into a meetup, and people are wanting to go to meetups to have this in-person connection in small settings.
Yeah.
And this was just like that on
steroids.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think it's so important that there's like little opportunities like this to, and it doesn't have to be as, big as FRMEFEST, but I think you're doing God's work, because like the meetup are opportunities for it to be, it's like a real life version of what we do every day.
Yep.
Yeah, and like I've mentioned this so many times in our conversations, but who we surround ourselves with is, I think, the biggest influence to the trajectory of where we're meant to go.
Yep.
So,
of course. And these create the opportunity to build on that.
Exactly.
And get around the people that get it. Even with the people that I've had on the podcast, there are some people that have loved being on it, because for the same reason. We would chat for an hour or two, and then at the end, like once we're finished, they're like, man, it felt so good to just talk to someone that just gets it. Like to just talk about creative stuff, because you don't get that opportunity elsewhere.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
A lot of our own friends like just aren't interested. I came from the fitness space, right? So I try and talk about like creative things. Like I know they're not interested.
Yeah, it's so true.
And there's not that connection and that feeling. And it's so weird, because when they say it, I understand what they're saying. When they're like, man, it was so cool. Like forget like the cameras and the podcast and everything. It felt great to just talk to someone that gets it.
So true. So true. Yeah, I think oftentimes when we're doing something for ourselves, it's a very lonely journey.
Yeah. Yeah, you would have felt it
so hard
in your own way.
so
yeah.
lonely. Like, you don't know who, like, even if there was someone to talk to, it's not the same frequency. Like,
Yeah.
we're not exchanging. It's
exactly.
not like we're playing tennis in conversation.
Yep.
It's just I'm talking at them and they don't really get it. They don't really care
Yeah.
about it. And it's like, oh, I
As
just
much as
wasted
you
this
do
time.
with the same enthusiasm and passion.
Yeah, and we're learning from each other. We're drawing inspiration. We're going to go home, and there's like there's this like this friendship theory that I go by, and this is from Jim Rohn. There are like in friendships, there are like leaf friends, branch friends, and root friends. So if you take a tree as an example, like there's so many leaves on a tree when the season is good, and these friends would come and go. Like they will drop off and they'll come, and they're the ones that make us look popular or make us look pretty, make the tree look, full. And then there are the branches that are holding on to these leaves, and these ones are friends that are more like, more consistent in your life, and you have some overlapping interests. And then there are your root friends, your root people, which could be like family, the people that like no matter the season, no matter the weather or the rain, they stay rooted. And they're the things that are going to keep allowing you to grow. And like I kind of categorize the people in my life in like leaves, branches, and roots. And it's so interesting because I think growing up, I always thought that the longer time we've been friends, the more deserving they are of being a branch or a root.
Yes.
But the older I get, the more like I find myself clicking with people within one setting, or like within like 1 week or 1 month of hanging out. And for whatever reason, it makes it feel like I've known them for a long, long time. And I feel like our friendship is more relevant than the one that maybe, I don't know, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And and then they become a root before the leaf. I don't know. And so I like to like categorize people in my life like that because oftentimes I think we place emphasis on the wrong people or the right people differently. And it's just like a good framework.
I agree. That's amazing. And it's good to recognize that as well. A lot of people don't. Like they don't take the time to be aware of those types of things.
Yeah, because I think when you're in like a relentless pursuit to pursue something that means something to you, it's almost impossible to pursue it when you're not being almost strategic or mindful on who you're letting in. And it's not just who you're spending time with, it's also the type of conversations you're having. Because I could be spending an hour with you and then leaving this conversation and having had gained so much inspiration, insight, and learnings versus the same hour that I would have spent with someone that I don't really align with, but I'm just hanging out because we've been friends with for like 20 years. And consistently, repeatedly, those conversations with the person I don't relate to as much would snowball into nothing valuable for my pursuit.
Yep.
Whereas this one is like, it's like a domino effect.
True.
So,
and also probably for them as well.
Yeah.
Like for that they're probably not getting value out of it either.
Exactly. So.
Yeah. Very good points to make. And you need to be aware of those things. And there's no right or wrong either, It's all
exactly. It's all relative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, this has been so good.
I know.
This has been so
good. Good for me too.
Yeah.
I've whoever's like listening.
Yep.
We had a good conversation before this podcast.
Yes.
And so much of what Ken was saying like was valuable to me too. So I was like, oh my God, like we need to interview you.
No, we don't need that. We don't need that.
You have a really good story as well. So
True. Thank you.
hopefully one day you share it.
One day, maybe.
Yeah.
But I like this because I get to learn so much. Like there's so many different stories out there. Like everyone that I've had on has their own story and they've reached success in their own way in whatever that looks like. And you can learn so much by someone that's achieved something in a completely different way than you could have ever even imagined. And a lot of the times you can learn little bits from everyone and you can implement them into your own life in your own way. The same way that and it's understanding I need to become someone different to achieve my goals. So taking little bits of everyone that can then enable me to change for the better is always a good thing. And I feel like that's happening to me every time I have someone on. And that's happened a lot today.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, this has been really good. Thank you so much for sharing as much as you have. Congratulations. I don't know I'm sure many people have said this to you, but you should feel proud of what you've achieved. It was honestly amazing. I have so many creative friends now, especially over the last year. I've been trying to be more intentional with creating creative friends, because in the past I had none. And over the last year I've tried my best. I'm like, no, I need to make an effort to do this. And I've got to, I feel like even with the meetups, a lot of it, my intention is to like become a part of the community rather than sit back. And from knowing so many now, and from the people that have come to my event, nothing but like amazing things have been said about it.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
Yeah,
Thank you. That
I hope
means
it
so much.
continues to grow. I hope like the passion and the enthusiasm doesn't go away. Like you
Yeah.
can really feel it when you're telling this story. And whether it does or it doesn't, right? You're a very passionate person. I just hope you continue pursuing the things that make you feel this way, because that's inspiring as well. Like a lot of watching you was like, I want to find things that make me feel like that. Whatever it is I'm doing, I want to feel like that. And I think that's really come out from this conversation.
Thank you so much. This has been really valuable for me too. And honestly, like I said, FRMEFEST is a encapsulated, huge group of people that made this all happen.
Yes.
And not just the internal team, but people like yourselves as well, and allowing me to be speaking to you like this and sharing the story. It's all a big snowball effect. And I think everybody's creating opportunities for everybody in their own way. And I'm so, so grateful to be a part of this community. And it's very, very close to home for me.
Yes.
So can I ask you one question?
Of course you can.
What is your goal creating this podcast?
This podcast is to, we spoke about it earlier, but I feel it's like you recognize that this creative community is like really big, and there's a lot of people that are trying to figure it out on their own. And the thing is, like, that was me when I first started out. I still feel like that at times now. And I remember when I first started, I got a mentor simply to feel like I had another creative friend. And we'd talk once a week, and it was my outlet. I could talk to them about things and they got it. They understood. And when I started this, it was realizing that there's so many people out there in this space that feel exactly the same way I did back then. And I was paying a mentor literally I was paying her to be my friend, basically. And now we are friends, which is great.
Yeah.
So in terms of like knowing who I want to serve and who I want to help from this, it's basically who I was when I first started out. And in some aspects, it's still helping me now. But it's recognizing, like I go to these events and you guys notice it too. There's a massive community that all feel that same way. And it's me just doing like my little part, to be able to give back and help that person, because I was looking for help back then too. Oh man, I still remember, and I posted about it. I followed lots of creatives, and there was a live, her name, something Peters. Her last name was Peters. She was a creative. She was like a surf creative. And Ben Mack is another creative who's like a landscape photographer. And when I first started out, they both did an Instagram live. And I still remember, I still have it in my phone. You know how you can ask questions in a live?
Yeah.
My question was, how do you make friends when you have none? And they read it out. And when they read it out, it hit me. I was like, oh man, this is so embarrassing.
Did they say who said it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, no.
They're like, Kenny Visuals. And then he's like, how do you have friends? Dude's got no friends. And I felt so embarrassed. At the time, I was like, this is a good question. And that's genuinely how I felt at the time.
Yeah.
And it was having something like this. Like I was on that live looking for people to help me out. And this is me like creating that for other people.
You're giving a voice to the industry.
Yeah. And it's exactly that. Like I'm not making money. Like it's a massive investment of time and energy and money that you don't see a return. It's been over a year. But I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Like I enjoy it. It's fulfilling. And I've given up at the beginning of the year. I gave up client. It's the same thing. Like I had to give up things to create more time to focus on the thing. And I gave up clients and money so that I could have more time to be more consistent with this. And the thing is, even though I lost money, I gained like joy, like that passion that you have. I gained a little bit of that by doing more of this rather than working for someone else that doesn't make me feel fulfilled. And that is my, like, not North Star, but that it's a sign to me to keep going with this.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
You got one question out of me. Good job.
I did.
Well
Yay!
done.
We got something out of him.
Yeah. But yeah, and I guess having you on has been a great step in that same direction. So thank you for coming on, and I really, really, really look forward to seeing what you've got coming up.
Thank you for having me, and I'm excited as well about this industry as a whole and what everyone's doing, and bright futures for FRMEFEST and everything else to follow.
Yes, I agree. Thanks, Selina.
Thank you so much.